Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am your host, Courtney Anderson. Today we have a show in our Myth Warriors series. And of course our Myth Warriors series is all about where we get out there and we don our battle gear as warriors. What are we battling? Well, we're out there to look at different concepts and ideas that are around us in our society and even in our own minds. And we're trying to determine, is this a myth? Or is it something that potentially is an accurate and credible truth or even a fact? And we're just trying to see, we're going to put in our efforts and get a little elbow grease and really attack these different ideas in our Myth Warriors series to find out, is that something that I should kind of pursue believing? Maybe it does seem that that is something that'll be helpful or at least accurate or reflective of the world as it is? Or is this concept something that really is a myth, a lie, a falsehood, a trick, a fallacy? That's what we're doing. So here we are in our Myth Warriors series. And our topic today is, I am too blank to find the relationship of my dreams. I am too blank to find the relationship of my dreams. Okay. So this topic is based on this whole idea and concept that I have heard numerous times. And one of the things that I've been very proud of myself in life is that I've always pursued having a diversity of experiences. So I like to, if I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to school and study lots of different things over time, or go back to school and learn new subject matters, or just take a class. It doesn't have to be a formal education or school degree program. I like to learn things. I also like in my work to take on different types of problems so that I can improve my problem-solving skills, and also so I never get bored. I don't want to get bored doing just like one thing forever. To me, my personality, that would drive me up a negative wall. I would be unhappy feeling like, oh, I'm trapped in this same repetitive problem I solve every day, all day. So one of the exciting things I've done is I've taken all of my academic background and professional skills, and I continue to handle legal issues and business management, strategic leadership, human resources, all the things I've studied and teach. But I also, many years ago now, about almost 15 years ago, my goodness, I went out and started doing speaking engagements where I wasn't just talking about law and business and leadership and all of the things that I do professionally, but I started to put together the pieces of the puzzle I was observing in life, where there are a lot of people who should be feeling like they're doing well in life, right? So they have some sort of work or business that's stable in terms of bringing them some kind of income. They are able to provide an excess of resources beyond their bare needs, so they have a place to stay, but it's a little bit, nicer than bare minimum. They're not sleeping on the floor. Maybe they have a very nice bed. They have begun to make decisions that should make them feel good, but yet they're feeling bad. Maybe they're stressed out. Maybe they're unhappy. Maybe they're miserable. And I started to look beyond just what happens at work, but look at the holistic approach to the person. And I began to do a lot of motivational, personal empowerment speaking events. I did a lot of women's conferences and things of that nature. I did a lot of conferences where we start to look at our lives beyond work and the relationships that are important to us beyond our work relationships. And it came up over and over and over again where people would be very, very negative, unhappy people. And they'd basically say to me something like, I'm too old. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too young. I'm too large. I'm too small. I'm too loud. I'm too shy. I'm too quiet. I'm too talkative. I'm too passionate. I'm too boring. And they just have a laundry list of reasons, right? And then they'll explain, so I'm too old to find the relationship of my dreams. I'm too tall to find the relationship of my dreams. I'm too large size to find the relationship of my dreams. I'm too small sized. I'm too freckled. I'm too fair skinned. I'm too rich skinned. I'm too just the list is forever. And that's why when I picked we were looking at this episode topic, I said, let me just leave it a blank, right? Because I'm too blank to find the relationship of my dreams. And if I've talked to 100 people about this, they've given me 100 different things, right? Their hair's too curly, it's too straight. Their voice is too low, it's too high. They dress too flashy, they dress too boring. A lot of gentlemen say to me it's because they're too polite, or they're too short. It just goes on and on and on. In all genders, and all over the world, people have all of these different things they tell themselves, or the reason why they're not in a relationship. So by relationship, we're talking about your real life, not your work relationships, which is of course what I focus on a lot. My workplace relationship expert practice. But the reality is, and I've done I don't know how many programs at this point in my life, over and over again, pounding home the idea that you don't enter work, miserable, and then work is awesome, and then you can be awesome and it's joyful, and then you go out of it and it's miserable again. It's not consistent. Now, a lot of people say that they're happier at work than they are in their regular life. That's an important issue for us to discuss. Ideally, you want some relative consistency. So everybody has horrible things that happen just in life, beyond our control. There's a horrible, flood, or there was a, an ice storm or whatever. And so, something happened and we couldn't control it. So there's just sort of weather and the planet and things like that. But ideally, although you're going to have good and awesome and horrible bad days at work, and you're going to have good and awesome and horrible bad days in your regular life, they should kind of balance out. It shouldn't be where you're hiding away from one of these parts of your world at the other one. And people do that. There are people who are like, oh, no, I'll work overtime. I'll work all weekend. I'll go on the business trip, because the truth is they don't want to go home. And I've probably had more males share things like that with me than females. It's not at all gender specific. My personal opinion is, but I think that more men have been in the work field longer and attained positions, and maybe feel that their home life didn't match sort of the positive self-esteem and experiences they had at work. So they just hid. So they just worked all the time because they felt better there, and they just tried not to go to their real life, which is really sad. And other people do the opposite. Other people just love their personal life, their real life. I call real because it's sort of the core, closer to who you are as a person, right? So you as you, and then you in your private home, in your private life. Those people see like a lot of the real you, right? No filter, hopefully, unvarnished. And then you go and you sort of put on more layers between sort of the core you and get out into the world. So, you literally, you're putting on your clothes. You're not out in your pajamas. You're, fully groomed, and you're out and about, ready to relate to people at work, or, to strangers out and about. And so that's, I think, in general, we have different, societies and different types of cultures. But in general, there's that idea that the most private you, and then you sort of have layers of how you relate to people in more distant parts of your world. And that's, part of our human experience. And this idea that I've encountered, all different ages of people, that's why I get a lot of people, I'm too young to find the relationship of my dreams, it's never going to happen. I'm too old to find the relationship of my dreams. Again, from all different parts of the world. Some people say they literally will blame their ethnicity or national origin. People say, oh, I'm too American, I'm too this or too that. It's you name an attribute, I guess, and you're gonna get somebody saying that's the reason they're not finding the relationship of their dreams. And there's a lot of anger in this area. So when we talk about practicing myth warriors and practicing being a warrior to see if something's a myth, it's important. I mean, I try to pick the show topics based on things that I know are important because people in the community like yourself suggest them to me, and I've worked enough and done enough traveling around the world to know what comes up over and over and over again for people that are challenges. So the idea, I think, here is that someone feels that in their personal, real life relationships, which are usually some combination of companionship and or romantic, that they don't have, a good relationship or any relationship at all, and they feel that there's no hope for them, right? Because they're too tall, short, large, small, young, old, whatever, and they'll say that. So if somebody says something to you, if somebody says to you, well, I'm too small, I just know it's not going to happen. I'm a male, and I know that most women want a big, sort of muscular, tall person, and I'm sort of a shorter person, and I don't have a big muscular frame, and so no one will ever be with me. The relationship of my dreams will never happen. I'll just be alone all of my life, and all I can do is just work and then just come home and be sad all the time and lonely because look at me, I'm so small statured. Okay, it's not funny when people really share the pain that they're in over this issue that we're trying to decide, is it a myth? Because what tends to happen is people will pick an attribute or a trait often that they can't change. So if somebody's argument is, well, I'm 5'3" and that's it, I'm doomed. Nobody will ever want me because I'm 5'3", unless I could come up with the money, I guess, to do some sort of experimental surgery to make myself, a foot taller or something. And there are things that I read sometimes in society that disturb me, I guess, where I see people, I guess they're trying in their mind to fix, somebody thinks, okay, it's because I'm 5'3", then there are people actually who do, not usually for 5'3", I don't think, but there are people who think, oh, okay, well then I'll just go get some sort of implant or surgery or see what they can do, make me tall, and that'll fix it. And you definitely see this when you look around the world with things like voluntary elective, plastic surgery. People think, oh, if my nose was different, or my eyes were different, or my hair was different. And they do all kinds of things that, certainly on one hand, if it makes somebody feel better and they have the resources, then okay, we support those types of decisions. My only concern is if somebody has truly convinced themselves that they're fill in the blank, whatever, nose, ears, eyes, face, if they've convinced themselves, height is this problem, is what they think, and then they go and they, quote, fix that, then it puts them in potentially a very tough, psychological position. Then where is that person automatically, right? Like, if it was because of my nose and now I went to the surgeon and then they changed my nose, I have a different nose now, then if you believe that the initial, premise of I'm too, blank to find the relationship of my dreams, too small nose or large nose or whatever it was, or, and you then go get your new nose, but then you still don't have a relationship of your dreams, it seems that it might put you in a really precarious emotional situation, because what is it next? And I actually went to the dentist very recently, and we were talking, and the dentist was talking about all the sort of things people do that they're not required for somebody's dental health, but people sort of are putting on putting resources into getting sort of veneers and other things, thinking, well, it'll make me look better, I guess. And then I guess for some people they could even put it into our show topic today. My teeth aren't what they need to be, and then I'll get my teeth and they'll be different, and now I'll find the relationship of my dreams. All right, so the argument is, are you too, fill in the blank, whatever your thing is. So again, whether it's size or age or hair color or skin color or freckles or muscles or not enough muscles or boisterous or too quiet or the tone of your voice. I've had people tell me their voice is too low of a register or too husky or it's too high pitched. I mean, I've heard almost, in my mind, of course not everything, because I'll talk to people and then they'll say something and I'll think, wow, I'd never heard of that. But people can be convinced of basically anything. I've heard people from literally head to toe, right? So, hair texture, hair color, lack of hair, all the way down to your toes. Oh, no one will, look at me, my toes, my feet. I'm never going to get a relationship with my dreams. So if someone sees my feet, what? Really? So part of this idea is it a myth? Is it a myth that you and we are too blank to find a relationship of our dreams? Now, part of what I did in the title is I put in the show title, I'm too blank to find a relationship of my dreams, and then I put, okay. And part of that is because if someone is absolutely convinced, they believe into the core of their being that they are too fill in the blank, and that's the issue. That's the issue that is stopping them from having the relationship of their dreams. If you truly are committed to this and this is your faith and your belief, and I've met people like this, and I've talked to people and they'll say, look, I'm saving up, I'm saving, $10 a week or whatever, and as soon as I get all my money saved up, I'm going to go get my new fill in the blank, hair, nose, or whatever, clothes, whatever. And then I'll be able to go out and, start, finding the right person for the relationship of my dreams. If you're absolutely committed to that and that's what you believe, then there's nothing that I could, say or do to persuade you otherwise. And I've met, like I said, people around the world. They just get committed to these things and they believe it. And if it's your reality, then okay. And does that happen? Are there anecdotal examples where somebody knew someone and they had the wrong ears or whatever, and then they saved their money and got their elective surgery, and now they have different ears, and then sure enough, they found the woman of their dreams after that, or the man of their dreams. Does that happen? I'm sure it does. Anything's possible. But my argument is that the premise of this argument is that you are flawed. The premise of the whole argument is that, I am too blank, so I'm flawed. And if I could fix my flaw, well, then, of course, the person of my dreams would want to be with me, and they'd care about me, and they'd be my companion, and they'd be my romantic partner, and then everything would be wonderful. And I would never be, lonely or feel neglected or anything. And so the premise is that you're flawed. And that contradicts every program and every, foundation of my businesses and of my life. So I'm going to argue at this point that you're not flawed. And I'm going to argue that whatever it is you are is just right. So the argument that you're too much, too little, again, it's arguing that you're flawed, and I don't accept that. I don't accept that as a valid premise. No. You are exactly what you are. Now, are we all works in progress? One of my probably oft used and maybe abused at this point phrases. Yes, what that means is, am I what I feel I could be in terms of, am I the most organized? Am I the most patient, whatever? Am I the best, caregiver for my dogs or the best friend to people that I care about? No, of course not. Do I make mistakes? Yes, all the time, constantly. That's what work in progress means. So that I understand that, no, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I could be, but I'm growing. I'm in progress. Okay. That does not mean I'm flawed. That does not mean I'm inherently ruined and that I have to go fix something and then I'll be worth someone's attention or time or companion or love. And I just have to categorically reject the argument that anyone is just inherently flawed. Now, are we all different? Yes. I've shared in other programs, and I usually would share it kind of laughing, but it's not really a joke. One of the things that I wished when I was younger was I wished I was tall. I wished I was like at least like 5'9", 5'10". I thought like I'd be tall and sort of willowy in terms of my frame, and it would be great to be so tall. I'd look out over a lot of people because I'd be so tall. And then, of course, if I was tall, had a different frame and a different face, I could have been like a big famous actress or a supermodel. None of those I really aspired to that much, but for some reason in my head I thought if I was taller, it would be just sort of awesome. And I'm 5'3". On a good day, I think I'm 5'3.5". 5'3". I'm not probably going to hit 5'9" or 5'10". I actually was at a store the other day, some kind of shopping store, and there was a very really pretty lady in there, and she was really tall. And I just remember sort of walking past her in the aisle and thinking, wow, look how tall she is. She's so lucky. And she was dressed really nicely, and she just, looked great. And I just thought, wow. And do I to this day have, thoughts like I did in the store, like, man, I wish I was that tall? Sure, of course. That's just one of those things in my head. I just wish. That doesn't have any. That's not saying that my height is a flaw and that I'm too short to find the relationship of my dreams. It just means that we all have things that, for whatever reason, are interesting to us, or we think about sometimes in our fantasies or whatever. It's not unhealthy or weird or anything negative. But I don't want us to go a step further and say, because I'm not that thing, then I'm flawed. I'm not flawed. I'm a really, really awesome 5'3" or 5'3.5" on a good day. And I feel good about that. And, the challenge with programs like this is that people really believe. They just get caught up. They get caught up in these, and I'm going to argue that this is a myth. People get caught up in this idea that I'm flawed, I'm inherently, not good, and so when I fix whatever that's not good about me, then other people will come, and then I can have this great relationship. And I think that whole entire concept is, it's not logically sound. Here's why. If you really are flawed, right? If you just absolutely believe, oh my goodness, whatever. If my hair wasn't this way, everything in my life would be great. And because I have this horrible hair, no one will ever want to be with me. Okay. Well, I would first begin to ask, well, is it only you that has this affliction, or are other people similarly afflicted? And if so, why would there be a species, which we're all the same species, and some of us just come out and we're just inherently not valuable? We're not valuable, and we're not valuable in a way that it relates to the ability for other people to care and love us. I mean, what would be the purpose in that? And if so, then we'd have to re-examine all of society, because we don't want new children being born who are ruined like this, because who wants to be born ruined automatically? And that means that being ruined renders you someone who can't have a super relationship of your dreams. You can't have somebody who cares about you and loves you and is excited for you and happy for you and part of your life. If we have this situation where people really are, too whatever, too small frame, too large frame, too light, too dark, too wide, too narrow, too high pitched, too low pitched, voice. I mean, whatever it is, we have to immediately find it, and we have to stop new people from being born like this. Because if we have them and they're born like this, and they can't, get the money for maybe the surgery or whatever in the future to fix it, then they're just doomed. They're doomed to never have a good, healthy relationship with their dreams. This would be, I think, an international priority, and I don't accept it. I don't accept it at all. Are we all born differently? Yes. Are we born and then often change in life? Yes. So someone will say to me, well, I was fine when I was younger, but now I'm just too old. Too old for what? Age is one of those things that we have no control over. You are that age based on when you were born. Who can control that? Nobody. You're too old for what? If you're breathing and you're alive, what do you want? I think sometimes people have a disconnect between what they think the person and their relationship of their dreams is going to look like or should look like. And I think that is, again, a definition situation. What that means, definition situation, of course, is how are you defining the relationship of your dreams? I would define a relationship of your dreams is that you're with someone who wants to be with you, that you want to be with them. That's really important. It sounds stupid, but there are so many people that are in a relationship and they don't even like the person. The person was just there and they were lonely, and it's an incredibly unhealthy and sad situation when that happens, right? So you need to like them and they need to like you. Beyond that, they need to be healthy enough and you need to be healthy enough to be able to have some sort of support. So if somebody's really struggling, with drug or alcohol addiction or some other, issues at the time, they may not be able at that time to provide the type of relationship support you would need. So they have to be living their own individual lives and making healthy choices. You have to be living your own individual life and making healthy choices. Does everybody have a bad day? Yes. Does everybody have a bad temper at times? Yes. Do some people get loud when they're upset? Some people just shut up? Yes. What that means is, though, the relationship of your dreams, there's no, violence. There's a goal that you share support, right? That's why I said you're your own individual person, meaning you got your own dreams and activities and beliefs, and they have their own, and then together you make a healthy decision to share and support each other in time, in companionship, in intimacy, in romantic endeavors, and there's trust, and there's friendship. And that's the beginning to me of a dream relationship. And none of that has anything to do with somebody's size or ears or anything else in my mind. Now, I understand that some people have very specific ideas. And they may say, I don't care if the person, was healthy and they like me and I like them and we were friends and we enjoyed spending time together. But if they were, shorter than the certain height, I don't want them. There's some people who say things like that. I think those people have a problem with the definition of what a dream relationship is. A dream relationship is someone, again, who wants to be with you and you want to be with them. They're healthy and you're healthy. Not perfect, right? But just healthy. So we're not having, violence and abuse and all these types of things. And you're making a committed decision to both support each other. So, emotionally, psychologically, and then you're friends. That's the basis of these things. You care about each other. You like each other. And I've done other programs on this. The dream relationship is that if I'm happy, they're happy. And if I'm unhappy, then they're unhappy, and they want to try to see how they can help make me happy, even if it's just listening. They want the best for you. They want you to dream big and accomplish everything in your grasp, and they're so proud of you. An unhealthy relationship is they're jealous and they're spiteful and they want you to fail, and they're, that's unhealthy. A dream relationship is you can be as big as you can dream, and then you can also have sadness and be as scared and frightened, and they're there and they support you because they see all of you and they care about you. So for me, that does not, it's not tied to any of these things that people waste time telling me that they're too, whatever. And often when you do have an opportunity in life, when you are looking at yourself, how do you treat yourself? What kind of healthy choices are you making? Are you able to support somebody else without being jealous? Are you able to be happy for someone else when they're happy? Usually the only way that works is if you're pursuing the things that make you happy. Then you're not jealous when somebody else does something. You're supportive and excited for them. A lot of people who are not tended to their own needs, they can't have the relationship of their dreams because they're unable. I've talked to people and they say, oh, I don't want the person, that I care about, I don't want them to go on a business trip. What if they find another person and they cheat on me? Look, you want the person to be more than they were on their own. You want the relationship to help support them and them to dream and get out there. And so if part of that is they enjoy their business and they want to take a trip, you have to let go of some silly fear. If somebody doesn't want to be with you or they're going to cheat on you, they don't need to go on a business trip to do that. They can do that right there at your house. They can do it while you're in the bathroom. I've been a lawyer and done divorces and seen all kinds of things. People are going to do what they're going to do. But if you're healthy and they're healthy and you have the trust and relationship, even if somebody wakes up one day and decides, I don't want you anymore, and they're healthy and mature, they'll tell you that. They don't secretly go out and hurt your feelings. They'll say to you, look, for whatever reason, this relationship or us is not working, and we're going to separate. And then after they separate, and when you know that they've separated, they're not with you anymore, then maybe they'll go date somebody else. Then that's a healthy, mature way to do things. The other key is, if you believe you're flawed, then I don't understand how you're going to succeed at anything in life wholeheartedly, because you just believe inherently something's wrong. And that's why this is, in my book, totally 100% a myth. You are what you are. Now, can you be a better version of you? More organized, more patient, whatever? Yes. Can we all probably always help, no matter how fit you are or how healthy you are, improve that? Yes. But it's internal. The things that you're going to offer somebody in a relationship with a dream, right, that you support them, you support their dreams, you're there for them, it's unconditional at some point, that's internal. So my argument would be that you scrap this idea because I believe it's dangerous, and that you go be the person that you want in your dreams. So are you supportive? Are you excited about adventures in your life? Are you honest? All the things we just talked about. And you need to go work on those. That doesn't cost any money. And then you need to open up your mind and open up your heart to see the qualities in other people. Not the outside, how nice they look, but the inside, their behavior. And when your inside qualities are healthy, supportive, nurturing, then you're probably going to be more likely to find somebody who has those same internal qualities, and that might be the step to get you going on the relationship of your dreams. And then when you're with someone, as time goes on, we all change. So maybe their size, they might get a little larger or a little smaller. Their hair might change colors. It doesn't really matter because it's the inside. I really do appreciate you joining me for today's Myth Warriors show. I do hope you come to CourtneyAnderson.com. And always stay in touch and let me know if you have any suggestions or feedback for the show. And I do hope that you accept yourself unconditionally with friendship and trust, just as you are. And be the person in terms of your behaviors that you want in your person, in your mate. And then open up your mind and your heart. Trust the behavior in other people. And absolutely, positively, I'm completely convinced you will have the relationship of your dreams. In fact, it will surpass your dreams. Thank you so much for joining me again.